Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Orange County Workforce Development Board and the County of Orange, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to share our workforce programs with you. As you know, my name is Carma Lacy, and I'm the Director of Workforce Development for the county. I'm here tonight with my colleague, Chris Stoner. Before we really get into the AB 1111 program, I want to share a resource that's really underutilized in Orange County. I'm hoping that by sharing this information with you this evening, that you'll share this information with family and friends that may need these services. And so what I want to share with you is that each year, Orange County receives over $18 million in federal funding from the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. That act is designed to help individuals who need support with finding employment, or who've recently been dislocated from work, or youth, find opportunities or create opportunities for them to find long-term employment placement that leads to self-sufficiency. And so what I'd like to do is just give you a high-level overview of WIOA. That's what we call it. But give you a high-level overview so that if you do know someone who needs these resources, that you're able to connect them to our programs through the Orange County workforce system. Would you please advance? Can I advance the slide? So with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, the act was put into law in 2014. The law basically says that the workforce dollars that we receive as a community each year need to be spent on connecting job seekers and businesses to opportunities. So with that, there are earn and learn programs that you'll probably have heard about. If not, we can share more information about that in Orange County, that we have in Orange County. And what an earn and learn program is, that we will pay you a wage while you learn a new skill set or career pathway. Smart Choices is another area that the Act requires that we put into our program design. Smart Choices is where we provide you information and resources that allow you to make educated decisions about your career pathway. So what that means is, if you are interested in a career pathway in an industry that we know is going out, we share that information with you, or an industry that's in demand, we're able to provide you that information as well. Measuring Matters is another area of the law that was implemented. And what that means is that no longer can we create programs and provide resources and not follow up to see how successful we were in the community. So we measure the outcome of all of our enrollments, all of our placements, and all the activities that we provide in the Orange County community. Stepping Stones is another area provided. So what Stepping Stones is where when you enroll in one of our programs, we not only just give you the basic information on how to find a job, but we also help you with your career ladder, meaning that if you start off an entry-level opportunity, we create a plan for you to continue to progress in your career field or in your education opportunity. The other area is opening doors. So what we want to do is make sure that there are no wrong doors to serving individuals. So if our workforce program doesn't have a resource that you need, our job and our goal is to connect you to whatever resources that you need for you to be successful. So whether that is counseling, whether that is services offered by DOR, our programs are required to ensure that you have connection to all the resources that you need to be successful. In addition to that, the law requires regional partnerships. So regardless if you live in Orange County, LA, or San Diego, all of our workforce programs have a no wrong door system where you can connect with the workforce programs. And then the last part is engaging employers. So what we focus on is making sure that we engage employers from the beginning to the end. So if you were enrolled in one of our programs and you needed support for your employment, maybe you needed additional assistance with tools to make you successful, or you needed help or guidance on proper etiquette in that career place, we are able to provide you with those resources as well as the employer. So that way everyone is happy with the placement and outcome. Can we advance, please? Okay. So under the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Program, there are 3 pillars to our system. So one is the one-stop system. So we have centers located throughout Orange County. Our primary center is called the One Stop. It's located in Garden Grove, and I can share that information with you this evening. But in the Garden Grove One Stop Center, you don't necessarily have to be enrolled in WIOA to use the services in that facility. We offer free services at no charge for anyone who needs resources to find a job. What that means is if you needed assistance with, I don't know, using a computer or internet access or using a fax machine or a telephone, Those services and resources are all available to the community at no charge. Anyone can utilize those services or resources. We also have resources like laptop loaner programs. So if you didn't necessarily want to visit the center, but you needed to have access to the internet or a laptop, we do offer that service in that facility. The other option or the other pillar is making sure that we drive the decisions that our job seekers make to business and business needs. And then the last part is the workforce system that supports a strong regional economy. So as Judy shared with you earlier, part of what I do is not only provide resources for job seekers and youth, but also for businesses. So as you know, as COVID-19 happened, a lot of businesses went under. Our programs do provide support for some of those organizations or those businesses that aren't doing too well. We provide resources to hopefully save those jobs. So that's another area of the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act that our programs focus on. Can we please advance? I'm not going to go through each one of these, but I just want to point out some really great things about the program that, you know, with the workforce program, we really do try to make sure that that everything we do leads to self-sufficiency, regardless of who enrolls in our program. Our goal is to really connect people with opportunities so that they can have a better quality life. And whether that opportunity is providing you access to education, access to work experience opportunities, and even support in finding employers who are hiring. Our goal under the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act program is to really connect you and remove barriers to employment. Can we advance, please? So with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act program, a lot of people it seems to be just misguided information in the community about who's eligible. So on the adult side of the program, the only eligibility requirement is that you're over the age of 18, that you are a U.S. citizen, or that you have, if you're a non-citizen, that you have work access or work permission to work in the U.S. And then the last is that if you are a male over the age of 18, that you've signed up for selective service. But that is the only three requirements for the program. In the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, we are required to serve individuals with barriers. So that could be anybody who is low income, individuals with disabilities. That could also be veterans, individuals who are unemployed or underemployed. Essentially, anyone that has anything preventing them from finding employment on their own. Our programs are designed to support that individual overcome that barrier. Can we advance? So in the One Stop Center, I just mentioned to you a little bit before, like I mentioned, it's in Garden Grove, but we also have satellite locations throughout the community, and we will continue to expand those satellite access points through Orange County. But in those centers, if you decide that you need more than just using our free access to the computers and the resource room, we also offer enrollment into the WIOA program, where we provide you individualized counseling to help you achieve your employment goals. So there's no service delivery model required. It's meet people where they are model. So no two people have the same career pathway, nor do they have the same needs. So we want to make sure that we are serving everyone at their level, meeting them at their level, and providing them resources and connecting them with services that will honestly support their career pathway. We can go ahead and advance. Under the basic career services in the one-stop system, part of that really meeting you where you are is we do an intake and eligibility assessment. We essentially sit down with you, find out what are your career goals, where would you like to go, and then we create an employment plan for you. We then, once we complete the employment plan for you, whether we send you off to a post-secondary education or certification training program, or we connect you with an employer to provide you with a work experience, we stay engaged with that individual from the beginning to the end. Because what we want to do is make sure that you're successful and that whatever obstacles that we need to help you overcome with finding long-term employment or your career pathway, that we're able to assist you with that. In addition to that, we also provide you with labor market information and can assist you with unemployment claims and navigation. If we could please advance. Okay. With the individual career services, like I said, we offer you access to training through a post-secondary education program. We offer financial literacy training. In addition to that, we offer you access to other community partners that have resources that the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Program doesn't quite offer. One of I think the best things about what we offer is the internships and work experience. For a lot of individuals in Orange County, we've learned that there are a lot of people who just don't have that experience or are interested in a career pathway or may be interested in a career pathway, but not sure about it. So the great thing about what we offer is that we can put you into a work experience to figure out whether or not that is something that you're interested in or a career pathway for you. Let me please advance. So with training services, it also includes on-the-job training. So that's where we connect you with an employer who's hiring, and that employer actually offers you training. So it doesn't have to be a classroom training situation. It could be something where the employer actually trains that individual to do that job or to take on a new skill set. We also offer entrepreneurship skills training. So for a lot of the individuals who utilize our program, going into employment for another individual may not be their career path, or they may not be interested in that. So our programs also have a component where we teach you how to start your own business. So if that is something that someone is interested in, we're able to provide that. In addition to that, we also connect individuals with apprenticeship training programs, as well as customized training programs. The goal for us is to really just help people meet them where they are and help them to achieve their goals. So really empower their potential. Can we advance, please? I just want to highlight for our WIOA youth programs what the eligibility requirements are. They're a little bit different from the adult side, where the adult side really only had 3 main requirements. The youth side is a little bit different. So with the WIOA law, there are 2 tracks for youth. So there's an in-school track and an out-of-school youth track. So the out-of-school youth track requires that we put no less than 75% of our funding to support out-of-school youth. And with the out-of-school youth, the eligibility requirements is that you cannot be currently enrolled in an education training program. So you've been disconnected from the education system and maybe even not working. But in the program, you can qualify if you have basic skills deficiency, if you're an English language learner, an individual with a disability, pregnant or parenting, low income. You can have just one of those barriers and qualify for the WIOA program. You do not have to have all of those barriers to qualify, which I think is great for the youth that really aren't sure what career pathway that they want to go down, because it gives them an opportunity to get exposure and not have the requirement of being low income only to qualify. So this really opens up the program to a lot of people. Can we advance, please? And then for the in-school youth program, no less than 25% of our resources must go to youth that are in school. And so for the in-school youth program, that also includes individuals who may have basic skills deficiency, English language learner, an offender, homeless, pregnant or parenting, or a youth with disability. Now for the in-school youth program starts at the age of 14 and goes up to the age of 21. However, if you are over the age of 21 at the time of, or if you're 21 at the time of enrollment and have a disability, we can extend that program longer. I also want to highlight that in any of the WIOA youth programs, essentially there is no timeline to be in the program. So once you're enrolled until you're ready to separate from the program or be placed with the program. So that in theory means that you can actually be in this program for quite a while. I know that in the past, a lot of our workforce programs maybe had a 6-month or a year requirement. The program under the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act does not have an expiration date on when you have to complete the program. We just ask that if you enroll in the program that you continue to participate so that we can help you with your career pathway. Can we advance, please? In the WIOA youth program, I just want to also share with you, there are 14 elements that we make available to all youth enrolled. So if you are youth in our programs, we make sure that you have access to tutoring, secondary school completion. We also make sure that you have education concurrent with workforce preparation. So we make sure that while you're getting your high school diploma or a college degree or trade or post-secondary certificate, that we're also providing you access to workforce preparation. We provide youth with labor market information, paid and unpaid work experience, occupational skills training, financial literacy. In addition to that, entrepreneurship skills, adult mentoring, comprehensive guidance and counseling, supportive services. And then we stay, after you exit our program, we stay with you for at least 12 months after exit for what we call follow-up, so that if you do need access to resources while you are in follow-up, we're able to do that. In addition to that, we also offer supportive services. And what supportive services is if you need any resource to help you stay connected with your employment goal or your education track, we're able to assist you with that. An example of that would be if you needed help with your rent or help with your childcare or utility bills, just essentially anything, or transportation. Essentially anything that prevents you from staying focused and on track, we try to remove that barrier with that supportive service. Can we advance, please? Okay, I don't want to take up all the time because Chris, my colleague Chris, has a lot of information about AB 1111, and the AB 1111 and his STEPS program coordinate with the WIOA program. So this evening, I just really wanted to high level give you information about WIOA, and I'll let Chris dig into the AB 1111 and STEPS and how that works together with this WIOA concept.
Karma, before Chris goes, there are a number of questions in the chat. Do you just want to answer those in the chat, and then that way we can transfer it to Chris, or do you want to take some of those right now?
Take some of them. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take some of them, so that way,
okay,
in case there are more questions.
Yeah. So one question was about locations, and in terms of, is there one in Corona, California? Also, is there one near Fullerton? So these are kind of where are these offices? And you mentioned the one in Garden Grove. If you could put the address in the chat, it would probably be helpful. But other location, any other locations besides Garden Grove, and two of interest were Fullerton and Corona.
Yes. So in regards to Orange County, for Fullerton, the closest location is Garden Grove. However, we are currently working on a model to have a WIOA program site in each of the districts. So each supervisory district, we plan on having a location. Right now, we have a youth program in the La Habra area. We have Goodwill's office where you can enroll from there. We also have the Test and Homeless Shelter, as well as the Manchester office building in Orange. Those are some of the locations that we have today and right now. In addition to that, we have a one-stop mobile unit. So our one-stop mobile unit is an RV that we basically took everything out of it and created a computer lab. That mobile unit can be used by anyone in the community. Each week it has different locations that it's available. So for example, one week it may be at the Katie Wheeler Library. The next week it may be in La Palma. It's set up to go throughout all of the Orange County communities to provide people access to our services. And I can share with you guys the website where you can find out where the mobile unit is to see if there's a date and a time where that's going to be in close proximity to you. In addition to that, I will share the Garden Grove location. In regards to Corona, I believe Corona is a part of Riverside County, if I'm not mistaken, but yes, they do have the workforce program in Riverside County or San Bernardino County. I think it might be one of the two, and I'm not really sure, but there is a workforce program available there, and it is designed to do the exact same thing that I'm offering to you this evening.
Yeah, Karma, one of our members actually lives in Santa Monica, and he was asking about Los Angeles.
There are Los Angeles locations too. So what I can do, Judith, is I can send you a link to how to find one of the one-stops in each community so that anyone can look up where the closest one-stop is to where they are located.
Okay. And the way people get engaged with WIOA or the one-stops, do they physically go there? Can you call? Can you register online? What are the different ways to immerse yourself in the program?
That's a great question. In Orange County, we've set it up where you can enroll and do everything virtually. So if you're not comfortable with going into the one-stop center, we can actually do your application and serve you virtually. However, if you are okay with with actually going into the center, you can actually go into the Garden Grove office and actually utilize the resource and enroll in the program. So we offer 2 ways to be served in Orange County, or excuse me, 3 ways, including Goodwill as an option as well.
Okay, and before the meeting, you sent me some flyers. And so for those who are attending today's meeting, I had an email go out about 6 o'clock that had Chris's presentation, Carma's presentation, and those 3 flyers. Do you want to just quickly tell us what those 3 flyers were for? And I will resend them with the recording when it goes out.
Absolutely. So like I shared at the beginning of the call, this Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act program has been out since 2014, and it's not used in Orange County. I'm just going to be honest with you and say that not a lot of people know that it exists. And so what I wanted to do is not only take the opportunity to share with this group how this program can support you, but also family members and friends. I think that by sharing information about the one-stop center and the resources that are available to the community, that perhaps maybe this will help people connect with the resources that they need. In addition to that, I've sent a flyer or included a flyer for the youth program. The flyer will provide access to how to enroll and high-level information on what the program is and what the program can offer the community.
Okay, I'm going to ask maybe 2 more questions and then we'll let Chris go on. So the next question is about the in-school program, and the person wanted to know if it included paid and unpaid work experience like internships.
It does. So one of the nice things that the program offers is that it does offer paid and unpaid work experience opportunities. Currently in Orange County, we have a really unique program called, it's called Youth with Impact, and it's an earn and learn program where youth can, basically you would participate online and you're paid, I believe, $14 or $15 an hour to learn how to become an entrepreneur. So that's an example of kind of how we're making that paid and unpaid work experience and job shadowing available to youth. So absolutely, it's open to not only the in-school program, but also the out-of-school youth program as well.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to sneak one question in. I was really, this is my question. I was very intrigued by the apprenticeships, especially because I think my son is interested in film editing, and his grandfather had an apprenticeship, and that's how he got into being a film editor. So I was wondering what kind of apprenticeships are offered in Orange County?
That's a great question. So typically the traditional trade apprenticeships have been offered in Orange County. We're working to expand beyond the trades. We are looking at opportunities to teach people artificial intelligence, bioscience, essentially trades that wouldn't typically be considered as trades. So we have been connecting with employers to create unique opportunities to teach not only youth, but also adults career pathways that aren't traditional. Another apprenticeship or trade opportunity that we offer right now is we're offering an IT cybersecurity program. Again, that's not something that we would traditionally consider an apprenticeship program or a trade program, but that's something that is unique to Orange County that we are currently offering.
Terrific. This is the last question. Again, it's a geographic question. This family is in Lake Forest, and they want to know, is there a site near them? I mean, you used to have one in Irvine in the Spectrum, but I know that one closed down. What would you recommend for someone in Lake Forest?
You know, honestly, we do have a mobile unit at the Lake Forest Library, and I apologize, I cannot think of the name of that library at this time, but I do know that it's physically located in Lake Forest, so they could utilize the mobile unit. And I will share with you that we are looking to expand the one-stop system, like I said, in each of the supervisors' district. And so currently we are working on identifying a location within the 5th district that we hope to have finalized by the end of March. So hopefully by March, we'll have another one-stop located in Orange County.
So I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about our AB 1111 and STEPS program. We'll probably spend a little bit more time on the AB 1111, but I did want to take a little bit to touch base with you guys on our STEPS program as well, which is our youth focused program. So AB 1111. So I like to kind of start different sections here, kind of sharing quotes from, different celebrities, people out there in the community, activists in the disability realm. So I have Temple here, kind of sharing that the most important thing that people did for me was to expose me to new things. So that's what we're all doing today here. We're learning new information. We just learned a lot about WIOA. Carma shared a lot of great information there. And we're going to learn a little bit more about AB 1111 and these services and how they might be of benefit to you or maybe some people that you know. So this is just a little bit of background on AB 1111. I won't go through all of it, but I'll just kind of touch on a little bit of it here. So AB 1111 actually stands for Assembly Bill 1111. So it is passed in the California State Legislature. So the purpose of the initiative was to create grant programs that provide individuals with barriers to employment the services they need to enter, participate in, and complete broader workforce preparation, training, and education programs aligned with regional labor market needs. So this is kind of the root of how AB 1111 started. It's statewide. I actually meet with several other recipients throughout the state, and everybody has kind of varying projects, but we all have kind of this same mission. So the Orange County Workforce Development Board decided to focus on the target population of people with disabilities for the grant funding in the local area and partnered with Goodwill of Orange County to assist in providing those services. So the goal of our local project is to provide what's called vocational preparation and social adjustment services, as well as soft skills development to people with disabilities while connecting them to those WIOA funded services that Carma just talked about through our local one-stop centers to help improve employment, career development, and job retention outcomes for people with disabilities within local in-demand industries. And some of the local in-demand industries, because I know that question comes up, is hospitality, as well as the medical field and manufacturing are some of the key in-demand industries. So just a little bit about what vocational preparation and social adjustment services are. So these are meant to provide training to adults with a range of disabilities. So we work with individuals who have maybe some cognitive impairments, as well as individuals who maybe have a physical disability. So it's really a broad range. And we provide training to develop functional skills to improve employment outcomes. So what we do is we'll assess an individual. So an individual will come to us and we'll have a conversation and complete an assessment to help, kind of identify what that person's individual barriers to employment are. So those could be behavioral things. They could be things like getting along with coworkers. They could be things like grooming and hygiene, right? Or they could also be structural, right? So they could be, needing accommodations. They could be access-related issues, right? They could be, geez, I don't know how I can go to work with my Social Security benefits, and I need to talk to somebody about that, right? So it could be both from a behavioral standpoint or from a structural standpoint. And then we provide individualized one-on-one trainings to help address and help eliminate the barriers that have been identified. So we do a lot of our classes one-on-one with individuals, or in very small groups if we've got individuals that are kind of sharing a similar path. But typically our services are done one-on-one. And training is individualized to meet those participants' specific needs. So not everybody's going to get the same exact trainings. It's really tailored to what a person's need is. So if somebody comes to me and they don't have grooming or hygiene issues, we're not going to have them sit through a grooming and hygiene class, right? We're going to just focus on the things that that person needs. Okay, so here's some examples of some of the VPSA service training topics. So I've mentioned hygiene and grooming. interpersonal skills and appropriate workplace interaction, stress and anger management, which I think all of us could use over the course of this last year, right? It's been a pretty stressful time. So that is a pretty popular topic these days. Job searching skills. So some folks maybe have some digital literacy issues and, you know, really need to learn how to do some job searching online and maybe need a little bit more of a hands-on assistance in that. Interviewing. Maybe an individual has some challenges around interviewing, especially nowadays with interviewing kind of more going to platforms like Zoom. That comes with some unique benefits for individuals, I think, and it also comes with some unique challenges. So we kind of work individually with people to help address those. Transportation, so that could be things like helping somebody understand the various bus routes, helping get somebody connected to how to get their disabled fare reduction card. It could also be helping somebody to navigate how to go about getting a driver's license, right? So we've actually done some assistance with training individuals on how to study for their written DMV test, right? Because if they need that in order to get to work, it's all part of the same picture, right? Social Security benefits planning, which I've already brought up a couple times. A lot of people come to us who have Social Security benefits and they're just not sure how their benefits are going to be impacted when they start working. So they have a lot of questions and need a little bit of support around that. So we wrap that into there as well for those that need it. Accommodation planning. So maybe an individual needs an accommodation, some special software, maybe somebody needs to understand how to navigate accommodations in the workplace, how to bring those things up. It can be kind of a difficult conversation for folks to have sometimes in terms of how to ask for those things, and we can work on kind of walking an individual through that, as well as providing some accommodations as well, and actually kind of walking through some options. And then also we will go over financial literacy from, you know, very introductory level to more complex stuff, just depending on what an individual might need if they need that support. We also cover soft skills development. So soft skills are non-technical skills that impact an individual's performance in the workplace and enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. So we actually provide that, you know, in that one-on-one setting if we need a little bit of focus in a certain area with soft skills, or those can also be provided at our one-stop centers. So, and soft skills are really essential to obtaining employment, retaining that employment once you've got it, and being able to grow, right? So being able to get those promotions, right? Demonstrating that you get along well with your coworkers and demonstrating that you're able to navigate the workplace really effectively is going to help you with growing in employment and getting those promotions. And at the end of the day, we want to help individuals with, you know, developing their career, not just a job, right? So being able to have those skills to be able to get those promotions is also very key. So in addition to the VPSA trainings and service, soft skills development classes will be offered to participants both through Goodwill and through the one-stop centers as well. So the ones through the one-stop centers are more of a group-oriented class. They're more of like a higher level overview. Very good curriculum. I've actually sat in on some of those, and they're very good. The ones that Goodwill are providing is more that one-on-one sort of support. So kind of there might be some similar topics that get covered between those two things, but the approach and the way that the material is handled is different. So some soft skills training topics include self-awareness, self-advocacy, self-presentation, communication skills, time management, adaptability, and collaboration, right? Working together. So in addition to the The training services, there's also the ability to do paid work experience. So paid work experience may be offered to individuals participating in AB 1111. The paid work experience will allow participants to apply the lessons learned through the VPSA services and soft skills development within an actual work environment. I find that a lot of the times you have to really be able to apply that knowledge, right? So sometimes talking through something and listening to something and digesting that information is one thing. It's another thing to have the opportunity to sort of practice those skills. And the work experience is a fantastic place to kind of practice those skills and to hone those skills and to work on them. So that way, future employment is very successful. Work experience will be offered concurrently with the other services, as well as mentoring and job coaching can be provided to help participants navigate the work environment with the tools that they've learned through the process of participating in the program. So just a little bit more on WIOA services. So as Carma indicated, WIOA stands for Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which is designed to help job seekers access employment, education, training, and support services to succeed in the labor market. The goal of WIOA is to help individuals obtain suitable and sustainable employment. WIOA training funds are designed to serve dislocated workers, adults, and youth who are in need of training to enter or re-enter the labor market. So this is a picture here you guys can see of actually the Garden Grove one-stop location that we were discussing earlier on the slide here. So the majority of participants enrolled into AB 1111 will also be co-enrolled to receive services under WIOA. So it's part of the process for us to work on some skills, help a person get ready, and then once they're, once they've kind of gone through some of the VPSA services, to then refer them over to the one-stop centers to receive those job placement services and all those wonderful services that Carma shared with us that fall under WIOA. So those are provided through the Orange County One-Stop Center, and that's the picture of Garden Grove right there. They provide no-cost employment and training services to job seekers and employers. So WIOA services available at the Orange County One Stop include access to computers, copy and fax machine and telephones, resume development and critique, thousands of job leads, and you guys, like, their connection with employers is just fantastic. I very frequently get just wonderful leads through the Orange County Workforce Development Board and that are communicated through the One Stop, just really fantastic job leads. So that's just a huge benefit there. They've got a wonderful job board on the wall with job listings, and they've got staff there to kind of help you kind of get through all that and guide through it. So it really is fantastic. Career planning and job coaching, training for high growth occupations. So kind of what Carma was discussing there is kind of looking at those labor market trends and kind of helping guide people towards careers that are kind of on the upswing, that are growing. So that's really kind of the focus there. So there's a lot of training in that. So she mentioned some really cool ones around cybersecurity, and in those sort of more high tech fields that we're seeing a lot of growth in. So job search workshops and special programs for seniors and veterans. They also do host job fairs occasionally, so they will do virtual job fairs, and those are really fantastic as well. So here's contact information about AB 1111. So if you have an interest in the AB 1111 program, or if you know somebody who has an interest in the AB 1111 program, or if you just have some questions and you wanna kind of go over things in a little bit more detail, there's an email address there that you can send an email to, as well as a phone number. Both of those go to an inbox that is managed by the whole team over at Goodwill that works on the AB 1111 project. So we're all able to respond to that really quickly. And I've also put the the One Stop's website here as well, so that you guys can get more information about the One Stop Center. Judy, were there any questions that were popping up in the chat? I saw a few.
Yes,
Pop up.
been
This
very
might be a good place to
popular.
pause. Yeah, this might be a good point to pause before we kind of roll into steps.
Okay, yes, there were quite a few questions. So hold on, let me
All right.
get started with that. I'm just gonna pop right in the middle here. So this is from Melissa. She wants to know, can parents get involved with minors? So do they meet alone, or parents like to help? So can they?
Yeah, we love working with parents. So yeah, absolutely. With this particular program, we're probably looking at more of an adult audience. The next program that we'll be discussing is the more youth-focused program. So I will say that for both programs, we've had interaction and love to collaborate with parents. So.
Okay. You mentioned about being unemployed. This person wants to know if they're partially employed. So they currently have a 20-hour-a-week job and they'd like to use the AB 1111 services to find a
yeah, and that's a possibility. So if an individual is like underemployed and they're looking at kind of growing a little bit, I think that that's worth exploring. I'd probably need to assess an individual to determine whether or not they kind of meet our criteria. So there'd probably be a little bit of discussion to have there, but yeah, there are certainly instances, particularly within this community, where we have a lot of folks that are unfortunately very underemployed.
Okay.
So this is an option for individuals that are underemployed as well.
Okay, this person is interested in learning how to drive, which sometimes can be a skill you need in order to get employed. You know, like Amazon's hiring and you know, things like that. So the question is there financial help for that kind of driver's training?
I don't have a lot of financial support around driver's training for this particular program. There are other resources that I could probably direct a person to for that. We have in this program helps people study for the DMV written test and kind of walked them through the process of how to kind of manage everything through the DMV and how to request accommodations at the DMV, those sorts of things. So we're happy to certainly work with individuals on that. There isn't a lot of funding around driver's training specifically, but I do have other resources that I could point people to.
Okay.
I'd like to interject. So under the WheelWork program for supportive services, we could. Yeah. So if that's a barrier preventing you from employment, we do have the ability to, and I'm assuming that when they say driver, they mean their regular driver's license.
Yes.
So then, yes, we could offer support in obtaining your driver's license.
Great.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I was hoping Carma would chime in there with that answer.
Maybe Chris learned something. This next question is going to be a whole session in itself. So I don't want to throw you down a rat hole here, because I know that this is a big question, but maybe you could kind of highlight it, because I know this is stuff you know. And so the question is, if someone is working, will they lose their Medicare, Medi-Cal benefits? And what about their SSI, SSDI benefits?
That's
a long question.
It is a pretty complicated question to answer. And I will say that I've done many a 2-hour presentation just on that topic alone.
Exactly.
So I won't dig in too deep. There are ways to reduce the amount of wages that Social Security is counting based on if you're utilizing any sort of job coaching or long-term supports, or if you're using any sort of impairment-related work expense, like if you're paying for anything out of pocket that you would need in order to work, those things can actually get deducted. So there are some ways to be able to work a relatively full schedule and to be able to maintain some of your benefits. In terms of the medical benefits, if you were eligible for Medi-Cal through SSI and you lose your cash benefits, you still may be eligible underneath a category that Social Security has called 1619B. And there's also some other fantastic programs in California. I'm thinking of the 250% Working Disabled program, which can really help individuals maintain their Medi-Cal benefits as they return to work, even if their cash benefits stop. So there's lots of good resources around that. And it really varies from case to case. Each person's benefits are a little bit different, and each person's employment goals are a little bit different. So it's a little tricky to answer that in all instances, but there are plenty of programs and ways to sort of navigate that are going to be most beneficial for you. So
Yeah, it was Sabag who asked this, and Sabag, I would, if you're a regional center client, talk to regional center and they have people there, or they will introduce you to people who can walk you through how to structure things to minimize the impact on your government benefits or to work through your concerns. So it would be best to work directly with them. Hold on a second. I got people who are right outside my door. Okay. Then someone with, there's so many different programs, it gets confusing. Someone wants to know.
I see Employment First in the chat.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to ask next.
Little different. So Employment First is actually an initiative that Regional Center actually has. And that program is sort of a program that is sort of kind of like a hybrid between a supported employment program. So typically in a supported employment type setting, a person would receive support about 20% of the time that they're on the job. With an Employment First program, they're able to access more long-term support. So they're able to get up to 100% support on the job. So that's kind of the big distinction there. But Employment First really kind of speaks to a whole way of thinking that has kind of gone on throughout the whole state in terms of looking at employment as the first option for people. So I know we have programs that are kind of called Employment First, but Employment First is really a lot of things. It's basically an initiative for people with disabilities to sort of focus on that employment aspect first instead of looking at other kinds of community-based activities first.
Okay, Chris, I got one more question here and then we'll move on to the next part of your presentation. This is probably a good transitional one because this person is about their kid graduating from high school. And they want to know if they should wait till after graduation. Their son's 18, but they want to know if they should wait till after graduation to contact you, or can they contact you now about the AB 1111?
Feel free to contact me now. We've got a couple different options here. So the next program that I'll be chatting about more is our Steps to Employment program. And that's really designed for students with disabilities. So it's designed for those in-school youth that are seeking employment or seeking work experience services. So we'll kind of chat a little bit more about that. So it could be that your son might be a better fit for that program, but the AB 1111 program is also an option. So we'll, feel free to contact me about either.
Okay, and Chris, I think we'll have plenty of time after this next portion and we can move into gallery mode and people can ask some more specific questions then.
Great, fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, let me minimize all the little chat windows and stuff here so I can see my screen. Okay, so next we're going to be chatting a little bit about steps. So this is RJ. You can do anything if you set goals. You just have to push yourself. So I find that that's always true. And I think the key there is setting those goals. And that's a big part of all these programs, is really kind of figuring out what it is that you want to do, setting goals around how to get there. Okay, so STEPS background and introduction. So STEPS is a statewide program to provide paid work experience in addition to employment preparation and soft skills development instruction to students with disabilities. This program is in collaboration with the California Department of Rehabilitation and administered through the local workforce development boards. The Orange County Workforce Development Board has collaborated with Goodwill of Orange County to help provide these services. So STEPS eligibility. So the target population for STEPS is those in-school youth that Carma was discussing earlier. So this is for STEPS specifically, we're talking about youth with a documented disability, ages 16 to 21. Youth must be attending school in order to participate. So they do have to be in school. Students with disabilities will be referred to the Department of Rehabilitation for services if they are not already participating. So we do kind of make that connection as well. Students will also be co-enrolled into WIOA services. So we will, you guys have heard a lot about WIOA services today. We'll talk a little bit more about them here because we're actually providing WIOA services under STEPS as well. So one component of the STEPS program is that students will receive 40 hours of instruction on employment preparation and soft skills development. This will include topics such as interviewing skills, resume development, career exploration, job search techniques, communication skills, and time management. Instruction will be provided concurrently with student work experience. So often what we're finding right now is that we're starting the instruction first while we're developing the job site for the person. And then during the course of their instruction, we'll be adding in the work experience component while the instruction continues to go on. Right now, at this time, all the instruction is taking place remotely using video platforms such as Zoom. So much like today's call, this is kind of the way the instruction goes. With STEPS, these are done in small groups and occasionally one-on-one settings, a little bit more group-oriented than our AB 1111 program, although we do also do a fair amount of one-on-one. Instruction will be provided based upon the student's availability with their school and work experience schedules, and will be available in the evenings and weekends as necessary. So same goes with the work experience schedule. We do a lot of evenings and weekends because that's when people are available, when they're in school all the time. So STEPS paid work experience. So students will be provided with 200 hours of paid work experience at a community employer worksite. Generally, that's over a 3-month period. Work sites will be determined based on the student's location, career goals, and abilities. Remote work options are available. So we've actually worked with 211OC and done work experience with individuals who are working kind of doing call center work. We've also done work experience with a couple manufacturing locations in the area, and we're able to actually get the work to be brought home and to be worked on at home and then to be brought over there. So we've done some creative things to kind of work with remote options for people who really are needing those remote options right now with with everything that's going on in the world. So we've kind of adapted and we've offered some remote options. Carma also mentioned the Youth with Impact, or the Entrepreneurship training. That is something that we have also been able to offer to students with disabilities through this program in WIOA as well. Job coaching services are also available to students who may require additional support in the work environment. So definitely kind of at the beginning of a person's work experience, we definitely want to be providing that job coaching to help provide those additional training, help people with getting familiar with their work site. I think the goal, generally speaking, is to try to get that person to be as independent as they are able to be. But we do start out with pretty heavy job coaching right now, particularly with everything that's going on in the world. Wages will be minimum wage. Sometimes could be higher, but generally speaking, we're looking at minimum wage. So WIOA services, you guys are hearing more about WIOA. So students participating in STEPS will be co-enrolled into WIOA services. Some of those include, as we've discussed before, financial literacy, leadership development opportunities, occupational skill training, the entrepreneurship training that we discussed, job placement assistance, and those 12 months of follow-up and retention services that Carma discussed earlier. So, and here is the contact information for STEPS. I'll leave this up for a little bit. If anybody's interested in the STEPS program or knows somebody who might be interested in the STEPS program, that email address will go to the group that works on our STEPS program at Goodwill. That phone number will lead to a voicemail, but it gets sent to an inbox that all of us have access to. So we're able to respond to you pretty quickly. In addition, I've included a link here to the one-stop page specific to the young adult services. Questions and answers.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Carma. Those, I think they're great programs, and I'm really excited. Somebody, I think Melissa had a question about, do you need to be a regional center client? And I said that was one of the great things about these programs is you don't. And our group tends to have people that are pretty high functioning folk, and so they may not qualify for regional center, but they still need some help getting that job career path moving for them. So any questions for Chris and Carma? Just raise your hand and let me know, and I'll call on you. Oh, I just saw someone raise their hand. There we go. Melissa, go ahead.
Hi. So my son, I had mentioned before, he'll hopefully be graduating in June. He's gotten some STEPS instruction, but no job or work experience up to this point. Once he graduates, then he is a client of Regional Center. So we are looking at the Employment First programs, but based on my experience with other services, it's a very slow moving process. Mm-hmm. So I'm very intrigued by this AB 1111 program. If we, once he graduates, because he's in school during the day now, once he graduates, we start working on that program. Is there too much overlap? Or would that be a problem then if we do?
No, I think that would be appropriate, as a matter of fact. So if a person has those regional center funded services, right? So the WIOA services that we've been talking about today, all of these services, they're really focused on that placement piece and all the preparation piece. That long-term support piece that Regional Center provides still is a piece that needs to fit into this, right? So kind of having that process started with an agency and working to secure a placement, I think is a good strategy to have, because then once the placement is in place, then you've got that long-term support structure that you can fall back on through the Regional Center, through a program like Employment First or supported employment or whatever type of support program that you choose.
Okay. All right. So I'll call you guys on June 6th.
I was also going to throw in that we've been working with, and I'm assuming that is through DOR. Is that correct, Chris?
The Employment First? That's more Regional Center.
Okay.
DOR does kind of have their hand in it a little bit.
Yeah. So what I was going to suggest is that we've been having conversations with DOR about co-enrollment. So what I want to say is you don't have to wait. So if you want to put him in that program plus our program, whether it's the STEPS youth program, since he is technically still in school, or if you want to wait for the AB 1111, I encourage you to go ahead and enroll him into our program as well as that one, just because it doesn't hurt to have wraparound support to serve an individual.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're right. Some of those programs can be kind of slow moving. It takes a while to develop a job for an individual. It really can. So
he's definitely interested in the trades. Mm-hmm. Like welding, woodworking, that sort of thing. If we got lucky and got some sort of great, internship, apprenticeship, on the job training program there, and then Regional Center comes up with one as well, I would feel like, all right, now, I mean, I know it's probably more ideal.
I'd rather have too much for a person than not enough, right?
Yeah, all right.
So.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else with a question?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Chris. For the purpose of unemployment benefits, if somebody is in AB 1111, at some point, at what point would that be considered like training or school training? Is it when they go to one stop or when they are in soft skill training? Like, you know, when they do an unemployment, they ask you, are you in a school or training? So when would that be constitute school? Is AB 1111 or a school
I
training?
can already
or
see
training?
Karma unmuting, so I think she's
Yeah.
got the answer.
Karma wants this one.
Yeah, so the AB 1111 is so to help you understand it, AB 1111 is a pathway to WIOA. So AB 1111 is our way of really getting out in the community and sharing with the community that we have a program that supports individuals with unique abilities. That's what I call it. And so when you enroll in AB 1111, our goal is to co-enroll you or enroll you in WIOA. So once you're enrolled in WIOA, for the purposes of unemployment insurance, at that point it's considered training and reportable.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense to Hannah?
Yeah, but so we would know when is that going to happen? It doesn't happen the first day or automatically.
No, it doesn't. So what happens is Chris and his team will take you through some training to get you prepared. And then once they're ready, they work on co-enrolling you into a WIOA. So that's basically up to the person. It could be as fast as a week or two, or as long as a month or two. It just depends on you, because the goal of all of our programs is to meet you where you are. So there is no hard set deadline or place where you have to be enrolled. It just depends on you and where you are.
And is that the same as one stop? I'm getting confused on that.
So WIOA is one stop. So WIOA's services are typically provided in the one stop. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any
I have a question.
Yeah, Helen.
So my son is college bound, but I would like him to, like have that teenage typical like work experience during the summer. Would your youth program be appropriate for that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's
Okay,
really
great.
kind of one of the things, right? Everybody started somewhere. Everybody had their first job somewhere, right? Mine
Right.
was in a rubber stamp shop. I used to teach women crafting and scrapbooking and stuff, right? So everybody starts somewhere. And I think there's a lot that we learn from those first job opportunities, right? So yeah, those typical, teenage jobs. Yeah, we're here to kind of help guide people towards those, and hopefully towards something that is ultimately related to their career.
Right. Absolutely.
But,
we would love that.
yeah, but absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay, that's
Helen,
great.
DOR and Regional Center are both really eager to see teens get that work experience.
Mhm.
If they were, that's on their
Okay.
wish list. So just to let you know that's something that
Okay. I'm
discussed a lot.
like I'm new to all of this, so I'm not familiar what DOR stands for.
Okay,
Department of
oh, that's all right.
Yeah. That's-
Department of Rehabilitation.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
That's okay. That's
We're
okay.
throwing a lot of terms.
Thanks,
at you, right?
Helen. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a quick question. So first I wanted to thank you for your time, but my son has kind of fallen through the cracks throughout the years. So he's 16 right now, and we actually pulled him from the school system when he was 3. So he's been homeschooled this whole time. And we're working to get him through high school. We register with a private school affidavit with the state. So my question is, what would be best for an individual like him, if it would be the STEPS program or the one stop? Like where would you start?
I would probably suggest starting with STEPS in that,
Okay.
that instance. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
I do have a question. It's Bernice. You can't see
Hi,
me.
Bernice. I can see what Mike is moving. So.
I do have a 25-year-old son who I think would benefit from career counseling. He did do the visual effects program and he really loved it, but finding a job in that area has been really tough. He then just mentioned he went to the more of a trade direction. He said, how about elevator maintenance? I'm like, whoa, okay. Which is more practical. And he would be, I think, working for somebody specifically and saying, hey, go take care of this, which probably fits better with where he is. Is there someone we could talk to about that type of work or career counseling? Because I think he's just grabbing right now, exploring.
Yeah. With either of these programs, well, in this case, you're probably at 25, we're probably looking more at AB 1111 and WIOA services. But we do that. So we'll look over like labor market data. We do like an interest profile where we'll kind of help people sort of determine kind of what their interests are, what sort of career aptitudes that they might have. And then we look at labor market data to kind of help determine, okay, is this an in-demand industry? Just to kind of help steer a person in a direction. So we actually do that as part of WIOA services.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely. I think that would be great. Yeah, and any of that effects and animation, I'll tell you, I've got a gentleman that I've been working with for about 5 years now who's been wanting to be an animator, and he finally landed his animation gig, and he's going to be animating something that's going to be on primetime television soon. So he is super excited. He's doing all the seconds and stuff and doing all the cleanup work. So it is a tough field to get into. But, with time and perseverance, folks can make it there. So
I think that's just too tough for him right now, is to go out and find those jobs. I think
this individual had to do other stuff kind of while that was on the side. And I think that's a smart plan.
I think he's changing his direction.
Okay.
Bernice, any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, Savag.
Are you two from the same organization? And how do I set up a virtual interview or virtual type of meetup for the forms and whatnot for all these programs?
So if you do reach out to either the One Stop or to Goodwill through AB 1111, I know we'll do like virtual meetings with people to do intakes and those sorts of things. We do like to meet in person when we can, but we do understand with everything, that we have to be able to do things remotely. So we do have ways to do that. I would say just email and indicate that you're interested in remote.
Do you have to be an Orange County resident, or because Savag lives in Santa Monica? You do not. Oh, fantastic. There you go, Savag. There's a couple of questions in the chat, so I'm going to ask them. The first question is, this is one I'd like, what age is considered a senior citizen?
So in our workforce programs, I just want to highlight that they're serving individuals at all ages. So you can be 150 and we'd still serve you, and you can still utilize our program. So we don't have age caps. I don't like to say what age is a senior citizen. I think you're as young as you decide to be.
You're as young as you feel.
You're as young as you feel. And then for our programs, you're qualified no matter what your age is.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Karma. I'm going to ask this question, even though I know the answer, but I think people need to hear this again. My son is part of OC Regional Center. Is he automatically eligible to enroll in AB 1111?
He's very likely to be eligible to be enrolled in AB 1111. Let's put it that way. With AB 1111, if a person has a diagnosis, they're typically eligible. Now, we want to kind of look and see if that person's really interested in work, right? So sometimes we've had individuals get referred to us by family members who maybe they really wanted the person to work, but the person doesn't really want to work. So, we'll keep those sorts of things in mind. But generally speaking, yeah, for persons with regional center, we're here to provide services to them. If they're not with regional center, it's not a requirement. So either way.
So while we're having agency speak here, the next question is kind of similar. Do you have to be for Helen, a Department of Rehabilitation client?
No, and you don't need to be a Department of Rehabilitation client either. With our STEPS program, we will refer you over to Department of Rehabilitation. There's a category that they have for enrolling people that's called potentially eligible for youth. So it's not necessarily a full case with DOR, but it just helps them track things, and it helps them to be able to quickly get a case open if you need additional services. So, but no, it's not a requirement for you to be with Department of Rehabilitation for any of these services.
Okay, I'm looking at Vita's comments on his son, who's a political science major. He's age 18. And will this program help him find out what his job options are? So I guess this is career counseling. Is AB 1111 about career counseling, or is he better off going to WIOA and the One Stop for that kind of thing?
Yeah, either way, he's going to get that career counseling, right? So WIOA is going to provide that career counseling. We provide that career counseling as part of our vocational preparation and social adjustment services, as well as through the WIOA services, right? So either way, that's a service that he'd be able to get.
Okay. I know the answer to this one, but I don't know it from Karma, and I'll ask it for both of you. On-ramping to your program, how long does it typically take? So someone, tomorrow they're inspired, they get online, they sign up. How long will it take them to actually be enrolled in these different programs? So we'll start with Chris, because he's not on mute. And then
Yeah,
we'll go to Karma.
I'll speak for steps in AB 1111. It can vary a little bit. There are documents that we want to kind of gather as part of our onboarding and as part of our intake. And sometimes folks maybe don't have those documents, or they need to obtain them. You know, as Karma indicated, that kind of one of the key things is demonstrating the right to work, right? So we want to make sure that everybody who comes to us has those right to work documents. And sometimes folks need to go get another copy, or they don't, or, you know, they left them somewhere else or whatever, right? So sometimes those sorts of things can slow down the process, but generally speaking, if a person comes to us and they have their stuff ready, it's usually couple weeks. It really depends on the person. Sometimes we're able to go and do better than that.
What's a right to work document? Is that just
So,
driver's license, proof that you're American citizen?
Card,
okay, that kind of thing.
Driver's license, birth certificate, passports. You know, the kinds of stuff you would use on a
made in USA. Yeah.
Yep. Proof
Okay.
that you have the right to work. Yeah.
Okay, Karma, how about you? What's an on-ramp look like?
I've been in this industry for about 20 years. I've seen an enrollment happen in a day, and I've seen it happen in months. So it just depends on the person and how prepared you are for the opportunity. I think that if you want the process to go faster, it's gathering all your documents before you meet with them to have everything ready and be prepared to take the assessment, because part of enrollment isn't just filling out some forms. It's also taking an assessment to figure out where you are so that we can develop a training plan that really helps you get to your end goal. So honestly, it's where Chris kind of landed. It depends on the person. I've seen it, like I said, in a day. I've seen it take 2-3 weeks. It just depends on the person and how prepared they are for their initial meeting with the career counselor.
Okay.
And for us, I know when we do our initial meeting with folks, when we do our intake meeting, I have kind of a cheat sheet that we use that has kind of the documents and stuff, and we'll walk people through that and kind of talk, oh, do you think you'd have this one? Okay, maybe this one. And then we find that kind of helps that workflow move a little bit faster.
Is there a way that you can email us what the list of documents are? I know
Sure.
that it would be real helpful for people to just get it all together and have it one place.
Sure,
That would
yeah,
be something
absolutely.
useful for people to know about. Somebody really, we got more people wanting to drive, so Carmen, they're intrigued about
Brought up
how
a
you
popular
can.
topic.
I'll tell you, when my son started to drive, it was 18. He put on his bike helmet and got in the car with my husband and drove like 1 mile an hour. It took him about 3 or 4 years, and now he has a driver's license and he drives all the time. But it's tough for these guys. So they want to know what kind of help can you provide for obtaining your driver's license. So
Yeah,
Carmen,
so-
what have you seen?
So what we typically, when I say provide support, we can pay for the exam fee. So for youths in my past, I'd actually pay for you to take the driver's training classes. So if you needed to take driver's ed, we pay for the driver's ed and pay for the exam. So it just depends. Now, I'm not able to pay for your insurance or your car, but I can support you in making sure that you receive the training that you need, as well as having the resource available for the day of the test.
Yeah, and in AB 1111, we've done mostly assistance around the written test, and kind of, so we do practice tests with folks. We walk through them over and over and over again, whatever person needs, in order to kind of practice those. And we kind of walk them through accommodations. So often an individual will need some accommodations when they go down to the DMV to take the written test. So, you know, if a person's deaf or hard of hearing, they might need a sign language interpreter, because reading might not be their best skill, because English wasn't their first language because they sign. So they might need that assistance. So we walk people through those sorts of pieces of it, so that are maybe more unique to individuals with disabilities kind of navigating the system, and kind of walk folks through that.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think we're done. I think we wore them out. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much, Carma. Thank you so much, everybody else, for joining us tonight. So I will be sending out links to this presentation. I'll include again the links to both PowerPoint decks, as well as 3 flyers that Carma provided to me. I think one is on AB 1111, one is on the One Stop, and was the other one on
Youth.
So yeah, the STEPS program. So for that, and hopefully we'll see you on Saturday for the first of our author series with Tracy Cohen. So please sign up for that. And with that, have a great evening. Thank you very much. Bye.
Have a wonderful
Bye.
evening. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming. Bye.